everyone, today I'm going to be talking about the cost of living in Regina, Saskatchewan versus what it was for me living in the Greater Toronto area. If you want to see that, stay tuned. Oh, yeah. Hi guys, so today I'm going to share the cost of living in Regina, Saskatchewan versus what it was for me living in the Greater Toronto area. Now, I just want to make sure that you understand that this has been my experience, and to the best of my ability, I will preface this by saying that my living situation in Toronto was not the typical experience, I don't think. And so it's going to influence what I was spending. But I'll do my best to kind of give you what the figures were. Like, I'll tell you what I was expecting when I was going and what I found and things like that, and how that compares to living here in Regina. So let's start out with my story. When I applied for my visa, it was June 2021. During that time, I did all the research. So I researched apartments that were close to my school, where the commute made sense and things like that, and came to rent in at a comfortable figure of about $1,500. I figured it was still kind of tight because budget, but it was where I needed to be if I was going to be comfortable. And I was thinking this $1,500 would cover a 1-bedroom apartment, not a basement apartment, but an actual apartment, maybe unfurnished, things like that. So I applied for the visa in June, and this is when I did this research, and my visa was approved in August. So, but I didn't plan to move until November. So the actual search for apartments started around end of September, October. That's when I really started to double down on finding an apartment. I wasn't having much luck, just because I'm out of country, and you know, they want an arm and a leg, they want it to be making a certain figure per month, they want a credit history, you know, things like that, all things that as a new person coming in I did not have. So it was getting, you know, down to the wire, and eventually my husband got a recommendation of a realtor, and I contacted her and we spoke, and you know, I let her know what I was looking for. So I didn't want a basement apartment, just because the idea of living downstairs with somebody else above you, like living in somebody's house, I'm sorry, like that, I know a lot of people will say, oh, that's pretty normal here, and I'm sure it is, but I didn't want to do that. Like, I'm concerned about who you are. Like, if I'm living in your house, I don't care if they're like, oh, you know, there are protections in place and you can do this and you can't do that. No, I'm in a house. If I'm in a house, to me, I'm in your house. If you understand, you understand. So I did not like the idea of a basement apartment, so I definitely was not looking for that. I was actively trying to exclude that in my search. Basement apartments tend to go for a little bit cheaper. I also did not want a furnished apartment, because I've heard about the bed bugs and all them things, and I can't. I was like, no, you don't know who was there before, you don't know who was using it, you just don't know, right? So I never liked the idea of a furnished apartment either. So I was really looking for maybe a 1-bedroom apartment that was unfurnished, and an actual apartment, not basement apartment. And then I was kind of open to maybe the utilities would be included, maybe they weren't. So that was what I was looking for. By the time we got to November, that budget was a pipe dream. Yeah, to find something for that amount downtown, close to school, without it being like a basement apartment or something, was really a pipe dream, right? So I upped the budget to about $1,800 and was still coming in tight. It was still coming in tight. So anyway, one day we had a conversation with the landlady, and you know, we were texting and it wasn't really going well. It wasn't going well, so she called and we had a conversation, and I explained to her that you know, I had my ticket booked on such and such a date, and I was really wanting to find something close to that date. So then she said, you know what, I have an apartment. It's like, I have a basement apartment, but it's not gonna be available till X date, which was like 7 days after I landed. So it's like, okay. So it's like, you can stay, we can use that as transitional, and you know, the rent is $1,100, and you can, you know, use that, and we look for something that you would be more comfortable in or closer to school and things like that for you. But she also went on to say, you know what, the apartment was typically empty throughout the winter months on a yearly basis. So she was like, okay, if you even wanted to stay until you were finished school, that would be okay with me. Like, if you wanted to stay, that's cool. If you wanted to leave, that's cool too. We could just make it work for you. So I was like, all right, I could go down there and see it. And then I saw that it was 40 minutes away, and I was like, this apartment is literally everything I said I didn't want. It's a basement apartment, it's furnished, it's far from Toronto. But I figured, okay, why would I just go and see? Like, we don't have anything else, we don't have anything to lose, and at the end of the day, the date was coming up. So we did that. We booked a hotel for a week in Toronto, and then we were supposed to go down exactly 1 week later. Tell me why this lady, let me just say that this lady has been a godsend from the minute we were recommended to her. She said, you know what, if you need a ride from the hotel, you need me to come pick you up, say the word. Hubby and I were looking like, what? I think that we've just kind of been seasoned to kind of like me and him doing things. It was kind of like, where did this nice lady come from offering her help? But anyway, we said yes, because we have only a bag, we don't really know where we are going. We said yes. So she came to pick up her up. She made the journey to Toronto to come get us and made the journey back. Yeah, no, so on the way back, she was like, oh, I figured you guys wouldn't have had time to go grocery shopping as yet. Do you want me to call my daughter so that she could take you? I was like, huh? She's like, oh, I'm busy. She had something to do after. She's like, I can't take you, but I will call my daughter. So the lady called her that, you know? She called her that to come over the house and for come take us shopping, because she knew it was cold out and we didn't know the area and things like that. But hello. Anyway, the apartment looked good. It was nice. It was cozy. I was comfortable. I was like, all right, we can work with this. We can work with this. So that was my experience. She was really sweet. She was super helpful. For the first couple of months, I never had to really venture out anywhere. She basically would, you know, help me, like take me if I needed to go somewhere or something like that. And then of course, school remained online, so I wasn't actually making the 40-minute trip each way to Toronto daily. So there was that as well. That was also why I was like, all right, worst case scenario, you know, I'll have to find somewhere else. But if I'm not going into school every day, then I don't mind. So anyway, she was really sweet. Like, I could do a whole video on the kindness of this woman and her family, and then I found out that she knows my people. So small word, big word, but it's small. But anyway, so the $1,100 covered the apartment. It was furnished. It was a 1-bedroom suite, a walk-in closet that was pretty big, a bedroom that was pretty big, a bathroom that was a good size, and there's a kitchenette and a living area. And it included all utilities, the water, power, cable, everything was included in that $1,100. Mind you, that was a unicorn price and a unicorn deal. Yeah, so that's what I would spend, and then I would spend maybe $400 or $500 on food. for the month. And when I say food, I'm talking about toiletries and things for the house and things like that, because I prefer to do one shopping. So call it that. So I would be comfortable spending around $1,600 like on a monthly basis, like right around there, if there weren't anything, you know, like to come up, no like additional expenses to come up. I would comfortably be spending that to Regina. I just want to say, I'm going to describe my apartment. So in Regina, this apartment is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom suite. It's an apartment complex. They have pool, they have amenities like a pool and a gym and things like that, and you get 1 parking space, and it's $1,520. So that's what I pay for rent. In Toronto, you can probably, in downtown, like you can probably get that for a lot more, like $1,000 more, like maybe $2,500 up. That's the ballpark you're gonna have to think about in the GTA for this kind of apartment. It was unfurnished as well, and it include 2 of 3 utilities. Water and something else. There's another one that always eludes me, but it covers water and something else. I pay for power. So $1,520 for rent. I also pay for power, like I mentioned. I'm very careful about how I use the AC. It's summer. I'm very careful about how I use the AC. I don't use it even when it's blazing hot outside. Most of the time I can turn it on, cool down the space, and then turn it off back. I don't sleep with it on, or don't run it all day, things like that. JP scar me. I do my laundry once every 2 weeks, and my power bill comes to less than $40 per month. I haven't had a $40 bill yet. So $1,500, and then that's $40. I pay $83 for a very, very, very basic cable package. Like literally 2 news stations. I know some other station there, but I don't even know what them come. I don't care. I'm not interested, and I'm not watch nothing about them. Two little news station. It comes up to about $10 in the bill. Sorry, I can't see what's the door. It comes about $10 in the whole bill, and so that means that the next $73 is internet, and it's good enough. I also paid $45.20 for my phone bill, and I get 5 gigs per month. I never use it. I've never used all 5 gigs because Wi-Fi at home. I'm always at home, or I'm somewhere else where there's Wi-Fi. But that's good enough for me. So even though they have like a bonus where they give you an additional 8 gigs, I have like 13 gigs, and I'm pretty sure every time I renew, it still have the data plan. So I'm comfortable with what I have. Mind you, all of this is with me living alone. I expect that if my daughter and my husband were here, then the expenses would look different. But for no, so I pay under $40 for power, $1,520 for rent, $83 for cable and internet. I also pay $27 for renter's insurance. And those are my monthly obligations in terms of bills. Those are my bills. For the grocery, this is the next big one. It's expensive, right? I go to the supermarket about 3 trips per month for the month. Like every time I go, it lasts me about a week and a half. And it's not that the house gets empty. It's really just more so 1 or 2 things that I use pretty heavily will run down, and I have to go get them. And I just buy the other things that I'm short on anyway. And those 3 trips will cost about $100 and something each. So it's about $450, $500 for groceries. So for the entire month, my bill, like straight across the board, my bills come to around $2,300. Like, that's on average. That's very on brand. That's very average. Sometimes it's less. Sometimes I've never had it be more. I'm gonna say that I've never had it be more. So that's my expenses for. And I live in a nice apartment. I have parking space. But it's a parking space, right? And I like, outside of rent, my biggest expense is food. So there's that. And I'm very specific about what I eat out. My eating situation, I recognize it not to be typical eater, because I don't eat dairy. I have migraines and stuff like that, so I don't eat dairy. I one point really hooked on some lemonade. I had to stop drinking that, and I realized that my headache days went down significantly. So there's also that. I don't eat tin foods because I get ptomaine and food poisoning and things like that, and I don't eat shellfish. So my food choices are very specific, if that makes sense. So there's that as well, where, you know, I can probably buy 2 sardines and some of them and 2 beef, although that one are probably expensive too. But the point is that that's my grocery bill. It could probably be cheaper. And if it's just me alone, I think that's a very high bill. But what are you gonna do? It's offset in other ways, because in other provinces I hear that the power money is torn up, and obviously that might change come winter when you don't have the luxury of turning off to eat. But yeah, that has been how much I've spent on my journey, like on a month-to-month basis. I want to say though that I try as much as I possibly can to not waste the money. I try to be frugal. Of course, I buy like nice things here and this stuff to make myself comfortable and whatever. But for the most part, I try to be frugal. I try to maintain a certain budget, you know, and things like that. So yeah, that's what I spend in a month living in Regina. And hopefully I'm gonna get a car soon. Hopefully. I'm working on it, y'all. So there's that as well, but I try my best to make sure that my bills are contained, because girl, outside expensive, the expensive water. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, like it, and share it with your friends. And if you want me to do any other videos, you can leave suggestions in the inbox, or if you have any specific questions that you want to ask, I will answer. Just put them down below, and subscribe. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay? Bye.